Meet Megan, originally from North Carolina. She is a marriage and family therapist who calls Nashville home. In 1 year, just 1 year, she got married, had a honeymoon, got pregnant, had a baby moon, and is just weeks away from having her first baby. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
It's been a really busy year for you.
Yeah, I'm exhausted just hearing
me talk about
say
it.
That. Yeah.
Were you planning to do all of that
No.
close to get? No.
Some of it, yeah, but not getting licensed as a therapist, not getting pregnant on our honeymoon.
Oh. Well, that happens more often than
but it happened.
People plan for.
Yeah. So it was a big year, but it now kind of that we've had a little time of adjusting to it. Now we're on board with it.
You're one of the most thoroughly researched people I know. When you're going to do something, you really look into all your options, and that struck me. So here you are pregnant and getting ready for childbirth.
Yep.
And lots of people don't even do any research at all. Some people read a little bit, take a class, or watch a documentary. What did you do? How are you getting ready?
I read a lot, and I knew you were going to ask me about researching, and I've read so many books just because I think, one, already psychologically minded and interested in knowing that, and also kind of like wanting to explore a new avenue of my career, also of just maybe even becoming a doula and adding the therapy.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah.
You'd be an amazing doula.
I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome.
You bring just this incredible energy, and then multiply that by the research that you do. You'll be knowledgeable, and also, it's kind of like my wife, who's your doula.
Yeah.
I think that she brings a different element to the table when she really understands the mind-body connection and sort of how people tick.
Yeah. I mean, I wrote a list of books down that I've
Go for it. What'd you read? What'd you read and what'd you love?
So I started with What to Expect When You're Expecting, which was like, the one that my mom told me about, the one that other people... Standard.
Encyclopedia of everything that can go wrong during a pregnancy.
Exactly.
Yes.
And then
Comforting.
Right. Which I didn't realize that it was pretty fear-based initially, because that was like the first book that I started to read. But then when I started to kind of look into more alternative aspects or more holistic like approaches to birth, then I went into Ina May's Guide to Childbirth.
Oh, totally different.
Yeah. Mindful Mom to Be, which I really liked, of like the meditation and just kind of a mindfulness approach to birth.
Are you a meditator before pregnancy?
That's a stretch to call me a meditator, but somewhat.
I think meditator is just a stretch all by itself. I'm not sure that's a real word.
Yeah, that's true. It's definitely become really important while pregnant. Your Pregnancy Your Way, which was a great book. The Birth
Dr.
Partner.
Hill.
Dr. Hill.
Yes, and we did a podcast with her on the Informed Pregnancy podcast.
We did, which you just blew me away with kind of her empowering,
She's got a MD, they call her like midwife in disguise. She's very holistic in her approach.
Yeah. The Birth Partner, which my husband loved. The Daily Soul Sessions for the Pregnant Mama.
Ooh, I don't even know that one.
It's this really short book. It's this day by day kind of like...
what's happening throughout the pregnancy?
No, it's just like a thought for the day.
Oh, amazing.
Or like a wish for the day, or like help change your attitude, or come on mama. And it's written by 3 sisters. So
I want to check it out.
It's pretty awesome.
That's a new one for me.
Yeah.
What else is on your hit list?
Birthing from Within.
Okay.
Love
I like
that
Birthing.
one.
Yeah, it's a great book.
Parenting from the Inside Out.
For after baby.
After baby.
Which almost nobody thinks about that.
Yeah. Which I think that's where your wife, Alyssa, helped in doing like the afterbirth.
Oh, the afterbirth plan.
Yeah.
How to not hate each other after the baby comes.
Exactly. That's the Cliff Notes.
That's my subtext for it.
And the Amazing Newborn, and a child is born. It's just like both of these books are about right when the baby comes out and how they want to connect, and that how important like skin to skin is, and just really being in that moment.
We're going to put links up.
Yeah.
We're going to put links and pictures so you can find these books and read them at home. Was there one that was your favorite out of all of them? Hard to pick. You got a great list.
It's hard to pick. I still like Birthing from Within. I think that one really resonated with me, of just really kind of getting into your own body, trusting your intuition, trusting that, you know, our bodies figured out how to create this baby, you know, and like if I didn't read all of these books, my body would know what to do.
Yeah, I think sometimes people we take heat in the natural world because sometimes the body doesn't know what to do, and or sometimes things come up that need medical intervention, and that's true. That's absolutely true. But most times when you get in your car and you drive from point A to point B, your car just does fine. And if you know, indicator lights go on or funny noises start coming out or smoke starts coming out, then of course you do some diagnostics and you figure out what it is. But I think what we're saying is normally you get pregnant. You know, for a lot of people it's a sperm and egg and a beer, and then you make this huge child out of it without thinking about it. Your body just does it, and then at the end you squeeze the finished product out through the mail slot. It's not, you know, mechanically it's you're hardwired for how to do it, and sometimes the more fear we put into it, the more trouble we cause. Megan, you have an athletic background. When we come back, we're going to explore what you have been doing to stay physically and mentally healthy during your pregnancy. So come back for part 2 of Megan's journey. We're just getting started, and take a second to like this episode and subscribe below so you can keep up with all the episodes on the Real Midwives of Los Angeles. Megan, you're physically strong, athletic, you love to work out, you're competitive. We have nothing in common. At what age did you get hooked on exercise, and why?
And I think one of my first memories of, it was always part of my lifestyle, part of my family's lifestyle. It kind of just grew up with it. But one of my first memories was when I was probably like 4 or 5, and I signed up for this soccer, or my family signed me up for this soccer team, and it was a co-ed team. And it turns out there was one other girl that had signed up, but when we got to the field, it was just me
and the guys. Oh wow!
And I played for like 3 years with them. But it's always been.
Were you always the girl on the team?
Yeah.
Really, for 3 years?
Yeah, it was a co-ed team.
Were you
the whole time? But
well, this is 4 or 5, so till 8 years
little,
old. Yeah, you were little, and you're tall. How tall are you now?
5'10".
Were you tall as a kid also?
Yeah.
So were you taller than the boys?
Some of them.
Okay. So you kind of and also so that's where you got your start. I feel like a lot of people do, like when you're little and you go out and find something that you like that.
And I loved it.
You love soccer.
Yeah, I loved soccer, and then it turned into running for me, and then I ended up running in college and
running in like elementary school.
And track and field. Well, not in elementary school. I guess that started in like middle school and then high school, and then I ran in college, which I loved.
Long distance, short distance?
That was more kind of like mid distance, like the 400. So I guess sprint mid distance, and then after that, that kind of, I never thought I would like.
Do you feel good while you're running?
Love it.
In the moment?
It's such a high.
God,
it's painful sometimes. I mean, it's not pleasant, but it's like it's almost like a meditation for me.
So when it's over, you're like, I gotta stop now.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't picture that at all. And it's like every minute I gotta distract myself with Netflix or something. Try to convince myself that I'm not running. I love that. And I'm trying to do it with my kids. I try to get them out more, and like I don't really like roller coasters, so when I take them I smile and pretend like I do and hope that they will. So when I go out and I'm exercising with them or playing sports with them outside, I'm sort of, hey, come on, this is going to be a lot of fun. But I'm really trying to convince myself, too. Okay, that's physical health. I know that you struggled with mental health also growing up.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
My parents divorced when I was 2.
Oh, wow.
So when I was really little, and I started going to therapy when I was really young. So therapy has always been a part of my life personally, and then like obviously now professionally.
Toddler?
As a toddler. Yeah. And most of my memories there were drawing art, and I that's what I ended up majoring in college, was
Art?
illustration.
Oh, really? We should talk.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that about you.
Yeah. And
Is
so,
that therapeutic for you as well?
yeah, super therapeutic for
So you have
me.
to run and then come home and draw.
Yeah. It was kind of like different creative aspects, but
Sure.
they have a lot of overlap too, I think. But so there was some, kind of foundation laid in early childhood of, lots of feelings and figuring out how to handle those feelings. And in college was when it was kind of came to a head, and a lot of things were going on in my life. And my grandmother had ovarian cancer, who I'm really close to, and my mom, who I'm extremely close to, was understandably caring for
Oh, is your
her.
mother's mother?
Yeah, my mom's mom. And my roommate was really sick with an eating disorder, who I was trying to help care for. Not in a good relationship,
Wow,
romantic relationship,
that's a
and
lot at once.
yeah, and running track, and then
Well,
then
running
I
track is good. It's
running
the like
track was
good
like
thing in
my
your
saving
life.
grace, and it was the most like the highlight of my day. And when that I got hurt, I got a back injury and
Oh no.
disc injury, and had to stop running, and that was kind of what was like the kicker into pretty serious
Well,
depression.
you lost your escape.
Yeah, I lost my coping skill. So it was hard. I ended up taking a semester off of school, and that kind of started another journey of trying to figure out how to get back to me, how to find and kind of recreate myself again. But it was pretty dark at times, you know. Like after I took a semester off, I ended up, taking a bunch of pills and found myself in the hospital of not wanting to die, but wanting relief, and not knowing at the time how to cope, other than trying to really like want some quiet time. And that was my
Because
at
you
that time I thought, okay, I can just kind of check out here for a bit.
check out of
check
life,
out check out of check out of life. It
check
was
into a
just too
hospital. Did
much.
you go to the hospital on your own?
Went to the hospital. I was at home when I think my relationship with my mom and how close we were was the ultimate reason why I ended up telling her what I did. And she rushed me to the hospital, and I ended up being like 15 minutes away from liver failure.
Oh my.
So it was pretty scary, needless to say.
Sure. What was the experience like in the hospital? How old were you? No, you were in
I
college.
was 19.
Wow.
19. It was terrifying. I mean, it was, of course, looking back, I have, it seems so far away for me now, like talking about it now, it's like lifetimes ago, but it was such a crazy experience of being grateful that I spoke up. But then when I got to the hospital, it was such a powerless kind of, okay, out of control feeling of, I talked to my doctor on the way over there, and he said, you've done all you can. You saved your life essentially by speaking up. And got to the hospital, and people were rushing in before got out of the car, and stomach pumped, and my mom's crying and I'm crying. And I remember sitting up, like with the tube and down to my stomach, thinking, I'm just praying that this isn't my time.
You
And
didn't want to die.
I didn't.
You
Not
just
at all.
need a little
Not
break.
at all. Not at all. And I didn't, you know, it was really kind of waking up that next day, I'll never forget, of looking at life with it was like the first time I've saw the trees and saw the sky and saw my mom, and it was,
Life with different eyes.
yeah.
Um, I want to thank you for sharing that because so many people struggle with mental health and don't talk about it, and then we
Yeah.
all end up feeling alone.
Yeah.
And you've obviously come such a long way from there, and all those experiences that we have shape who we are. So
Yeah.
I know that you can never get rid of those experiences, but in your case, you seem to learn from them. So we'll be back
Yeah.
and find out more about you and your pregnancy
Okay.
and how you're doing now.
Okay.
Welcome back to the Real Midwives of Los Angeles. We are back with Megan. And last time you shared information about your mental health history, and it's really fascinating to me because when I met you, I had zero idea. There's no way to tell. And it's not because I don't think it's because you work at hiding it. I feel like it's because you've worked through it, and because you're kind of an open book. You
Yeah.
just say what's on your mind and what you're feeling. So it's not like you're hiding it. How did you get from there to here?
A lot of work, a lot of therapy, a lot of running, a lot of meditation, a lot of finding a really good, strong support system, talking to other people who have had depression and mental illness, and picking their brain about what has worked. But really, I think mainly it's been getting to know myself on a deeper level, and like learning to trust myself that I'm okay just the way I am.
It's as you say that, I sort of feel like I want to get to know myself better. I almost never have time for getting to hang out with me. It kind of seems like something that we should all do.
Yeah. Of course, I'm biased. I'm a
Yeah,
therapist. So
of
it's like
course.
I've got different lenses on, but yeah.
Well, did that? I mean, I imagine those experiences sort of pushed you in that direction.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It was kind of clear. Like, oh, okay, I started my life in this kind of forum of kind of talking things through and building relationships. And I love people. I love helping other people. And to me, my grandfather has told me a number of times, but people either kind of start out in life and have like the hard stuff in the beginning of life, and then they can kind of like work through it, and like the easy stuff is kind of middle to the end of life.
Yeah.
Or it's sometimes the opposite.
The opposite, yeah.
And I feel like I was the latter of like, let's get this hard stuff out of the way. And I just I appreciate where I am today.
That seems like your personality anyway. Let's like just take the bull by the horns, move past it, and enjoy what's behind it.
Yeah.
So, also, when I go to a personal trainer, I like to go to someone who's like, fit.
Let's do this. Right?
Especially if they start off not fit and they have this transformation, like they've lived it. So I sort of feel like you bring that gift with you into your therapy, into your clients.
Yeah.
You must do more than working out, just running, because you have to do other workouts. The first time we shook hands, you almost broke mine. You're strong. And I say that jokingly, but it's like chiropractors sometimes have or massage therapists have a strong handshake. That's what like when I go to those weekend conventions, it's strong handshake, strong handshake. And then when you came into the office, it was a handshake. I was like, whoa, chiropractor, but you're a therapist.
I'm a therapist.
So what other types of workout do you do?
I love spinning. I don't do it that much, but I love just like being in the ocean.
Oh, swimming.
Being in the water. I used to swim, not as much now, but I did for a while. Yoga, although that's been kind of like a newer found love.
With the pregnancy?
With the pregnancy.
There's also a community there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's good support in a lot
And
of
I
ways.
stopped running when I got pregnant. So, because it intuitively...
Consciously?
Yeah, I did, which was that was a workout in and of itself, a mental workout of trying to figure out how I can still kind of get that runner's high, if you
Well,
will. But
exactly. I mean, in college, when you stopped running, it was not good.
yeah,
So you replaced it with other things like
yeah.
yoga
So I
and
walk a lot, and yoga, and that's been, I think, not only that's really kind of calmed my mind and helped me know that there's a community out there, you know?
you're tall, so you can't really hide in a crowd.
No.
And when you're pregnant, you can't really hide in a crowd.
Nope.
So being tall and pregnant, you really can't hide in a crowd. Does that make you more aware of yourself? And as your body changes, how do you feel?
Sure. I mean, it was hard. It was hard, I think, initially in the beginning, especially before I wasn't showing. You know, I could feel it because I'm connected to my body so much, but no one else knew
That you were
that
pregnant.
I was
And you weren't
pregnant.
really showing.
And I wasn't really showing until about probably like fifth or sixth month.
Wow.
I think it was about fifth month that I was like, okay, but of course I saw it in like the third month or the fourth, you know, of like,
Yeah.
but
I guess that's also because you're tall, you show a little bit later
yeah,
and fit, so the baby has to
yeah,
break through.
yeah, but it's a change. But what's interesting is that like I love the bigger that I'm getting.
You do.
I do.
So you never looked at it and felt like, ugh,
No, sometimes I do.
it goes
Yeah.
both ways.
Yeah, it goes both ways because it's, you know, I was used to my body looking, feeling a certain way before. I was like in the best shape of my life, right? You know, before the wedding, and
Oh,
you
right.
know, it was like, all
Because
right,
that was just this
let's
year.
get wedding, and then let's get married, and then let's go to Italy. And when we got back from Italy, I knew I was pregnant. So it
I feel like I
was
would have a bump just coming back from Italy because the food is so good there.
totally,
Okay, so I know that you kind of go both ways with that belly and just
yeah,
your shape in general.
yeah,
At some point, you said, I am going to the beach and I am proud of my bump and I'm going to wear my bump.
yeah.
Tell me about that.
I I'm on Instagram. I follow a bunch of kind of empowering pregnancy, I want to say podcasts, but just kind of blogs or, you know, what have you of just really embracing your body, embracing this baby, being proud of who you are, who this baby is. And, you know, my belief is he chose me to be his mom, you know, and so I want to show him off. And so I went to the beach, and that actually happened the first time that I was walking without, you know, a top on or a bikini was in when we went to Hawaii for our baby moon. And that was a big deal for me because I would get looks of, oh my gosh, you know, you have a belly and you're not covering it up. And then, but a lot of times I would get, you know, you're glowing, this is beautiful, good, you know, congratulations, God bless you, you know, and that was so,
So you got shock
yeah,
and also praise.
yeah,
Like people really
yeah,
complimented you.
yeah.
And then you did it
And
at
then we came
home.
back. Then we came back from the baby moon, and I was like, all right, I feel good, you know. And so I was walking my dog on the boardwalk, and it was a really hot day. Had my sports bra and shorts on, and walking along, and you know, had just passed a couple, and both the, you know, man and woman looked at me, and they were like, you look beautiful. Like, I love your bump. The woman said, I love your bump.
That's so nice.
Yeah, it's so nice. Like, there's nothing like that feeling. And then, like 5 minutes later, a guy passed me on a bike and looked down, glared at my belly and said, that's disgusting.
Ooh.
And that was, and of course, my dog decided at the time to go to the bathroom right at that moment.
Oh,
So I
no.
was like more occupied and shocked of
I think your dog was making a statement.
exactly. That's what he thought,
That's
right?
disgusting.
Yeah.
Aw,
So I'd never had that happen, pregnant or not. Someone tell
of
me
course. I mean,
that is disgusting, you know.
how did it make you feel?
I was mad, but I was so blown away at like how quickly it happened and how it was such a different experience than, a lot of the comments I've gotten of, wow, that's so beautiful, you're so beautiful, the bump is so beautiful, that it really kind of challenged me to say, you know what, like, to me, that either the ignorance was disgusting, I'm not disgusting,
Yeah.
and really wanting to even dig my heels in even more and embrace my lumps, like embrace all the bumps
That's
and
that might be my autobiography. Embrace my lumps. uh, well, I know you posted that picture on social media,
I
and
did.
you got a lot of support
I
and
did.
feedback on social media, and it's something that we hear all the time. Even fully dressed, just out in public, how people make comments about, "Oh, you feel terrible. You
Yeah.
look so giant. Are you having twins?" So I'm not sure why it becomes socially okay
Right?
to cross those normal boundaries,
Yeah.
verbally or physically. People sometimes come up and just
Yeah.
touch pregnant women who you would think you want to build a bigger little personal boundary around a
Right.
pregnant woman. But I would say this: have you gotten comments during your pregnancy that either were complimentary or made you feel bad? Share them with us and be a part of the conversation. And we're going to come back with Megan for part 4. Megan, we talked about how you're this major researcher. You've read a lot of books. You've talked to people. You've joined communities. You've watched documentaries, listened to podcasts. You put your effort in making a decision. And there are so many choices, especially in Los Angeles, on where you have your baby and who your provider is.
Yeah.
You can have your baby at home, at a hospital, at a birthing center with a midwife, with an obstetrician, or out of the norm here, we have the option to have an obstetrician at home or a midwife at the hospital. Where did you land on your choice?
It was a journey of figuring it out. But I ultimately decided hospital, with the help of a doula, and my husband obviously will be there, and my doctor. But it didn't. I initially started thinking hospital, but there was quite a period of, exploring home birth, and I'm frankly still interested in it. So my husband and my agreement is this one will be hospital. Next baby will take 2, and
Yeah, well, we'll see how it goes.
yeah, we'll start from there. So
We've had babies at home and at the hospital, and
yeah.
we have no regrets on any of our experiences. I didn't even know home birth was an option when we got pregnant. I thought it was only for tree-hugging, Prius-driving vegan hippies. But then I see in my practice, you have all these like lawyers and doctors having
Yeah.
babies at home, and just really, they say too posh to push about Hollywood. But then I see these celebrities having babies at home. And it's just really, it's a small percentage. It's only about 2% of babies are
Yeah.
born out of the hospital, but it's a really diverse group of people doing it. And we loved our first 2 birth experiences. The third one was great too. It was just, by that time, the difference, because my wife and I are both doulas, and
Yeah.
the difference between seeing home birth and hospital birth and knowing that we were great candidates for it, and also now had more space because we were living in like this 900 square foot shack with a 2-year-old and 4-year-old. So
Right.
we thought hospital might be a better choice just for some sanity. But then after that, we had our home birth and it was great. So it's, you might have this
never
hospital
know,
experience
right?
and love it and want to do another
Right.
one. You might love it and still want to try home birth next time.
Right.
Who knows? That'll be exciting when you come back and tell us how everything went.
Yeah, totally.
But you went to do, because you're having your baby at the hospital, you went to do a
Yeah.
hospital tour. You, of course, did it earlier than most people.
I
Because you're a
did.
researcher.
I did.
And what happened for you on the hospital tour?
Well, interestingly enough, I mean, I joked with my friends before, like my dad's a doctor, my stepdad's in the medical field, everyone in my family's in medicine.
Yeah.
So I thought that I was actually more comfortable with the medical field than it turns out I was. And what happened is my husband and I went to tour the hospital, and I almost said beautiful home.
Beautiful home.
Beautiful home.
It is kind of homey.
Kind
in there.
of.
Yeah.
Beautiful hospital. And as soon as we started the tour, I just shut down. I like closed up. I got really quiet, and my husband thought I was mad at him, which I wasn't. It had nothing to do with him. But um, what ended up, what I ended up figuring out is that, the memories of being in the hospital so young, that I shared with you about, all of those memories came back, and I just closed up. And
Yeah. You
I,
talked about in your second episode how you
yeah,
went in, you took medications and got there just in the nick of time,
yeah,
and it was not a good experience for you at the
no,
hospital.
it was like a life or death experience versus I'm not sick, I'm having a baby, right?
Right.
Like, let's
But it's
celebrate.
hard to separate that from
Super
your
hard.
subconsciousness, like
Yeah.
walking in there again. Are there things that you're doing? Because I know at that point you looked at home birth, and you settled. You came to terms with finding your comfort zone at the hospital. Are there things that you're doing to make it feel different for you than going in as a sick person?
Yeah. After the tour, we decided, because I want to have a natural and medicated birth. That's my preference,
Hmm.
my ideal preference, but we'll see, right? Like I'm more okay now that unexpected things can happen, but that's my goal. And
Sure.
so in order to
I think it's a
achieve
great
that,
outlet to have a plan, a vision, and aim for it, and then just like again with the wedding, you just kind of let it go when you
right.
get there.
So we have a doula, Alyssa,
My
your
wife,
wife.
yeah, I highly
What a
recommend her. I
rad
think she's
lady. Yeah,
great.
she's amazing. So we're working with her, and we're working on kind of claiming the space as our own, of bringing flameless candles, of bringing music. I'm getting a labor gown that's so I don't have to wear kind of like the
The
hospital
hospital moo.
scrubs.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So it's
Well, yeah. It makes a big difference when you see
yeah,
yourself.
of like, okay, I'm not sick. I'm having a baby. Like it's his birthday.
So it sounds
You
like you're
know,
playing like home birth at the hospital,
we're trying to
is
make
what
it.
people say.
Yeah. So I want to we want to labor at home as long as we can. And we live, thankfully, very close to the hospital. So, my goal is to make it at home as long as I can, and then get to the hospital and meet him.
Sounds like a
We'll
great
see.
plan. And your doctor, cool with the plan?
My doctor's super cool with the plan and encourages me to stay at home as
Stay
long
at
as
home for a while and just
possible.
come for
Yeah.
the big finish.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Can't wait to hear how it goes. But
Yeah.
before we get there, you guys went on an awesome baby moon. You
We
talked about it
did.
briefly. When we come back, I want to find out more about your baby moon. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any episodes, and share us with your friends. Not only, Megan, did you have a honeymoon this year, you also had a baby moon. Where did you guys go?
We went to Maui in Hawaii.
Another great choice.
It was amazing.
Had you been there before?
Actually, when my mom was pregnant with me.
Oh, wow. So you
Yeah.
had been there in utero.
Yeah. Technically, I'd been there, but I didn't remember much.
History repeats itself.
Yeah.
Nice. No, how many months pregnant were you when you went?
It was 30 weeks, so
Oh, yeah. So like towards the end, last
yeah.
decade.
I wanted to wait for as long as I could.
I feel like 30 weeks is for a lot of people, it's like big to travel. Did you feel big traveling?
I felt excited. I was like, this is my last kind of like big hurrah.
You guys are a
before-
really sweet couple.
I think so.
I don't know if it's just because
love
it's your
my
first
husband.
year, but like the way you talk about each other makes me feel bad about myself. I'm like, honey, we this is how we get relationship goals. And I love my wife. We have an amazing relationship. We're
Yeah.
married over 20 years.
Well,
And
that's our goal.
hey, we can swap secrets.
Okay.
But yeah, I feel like I get the hang of it sometimes now.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
What did you guys do while you were there? How long
Oh
were
my
you in
gosh,
Maui?
we did all sorts of stuff. We were there about 10 days.
Oh,
9
nice
days.
trip.
Yeah. It was whale season there. We caught the tail end of whale season, birthing and mating season, which was pretty
How appropriate.
awesome.
What do they do?
They would jump and just play right outside our hotel. Like we didn't.
Just from your window?
Yeah, yeah. We like walked out the first day and
How big
saw
are they? I mean,
huge. They're
giant.
humpback whales. I
Wow.
mean, they look small relative, like where you're
Because you're far
standing.
away.
You're
Yeah.
far away, but you're like, I don't know. I'm not good at distance, but you're far away from them.
Yeah.
So we snorkeled. We uh, hiked.
Was it hard to? I mean, your buoyancy changes.
Yeah, but the water felt so good.
Did you feel different in it?
Yeah, I mean, I floated.
More floaty.
I
I had the
floated.
opposite. One time I juiced for 4 months.
Yeah.
I lost 120 pounds and I jumped in the pool and I was like, oh, yeah, I hit the bottom so fast. I thought I was going to die. So you had the opposite experience.
Yeah. Yeah,
Hey, I
and
could float.
just not having the weight on. I mean, it was like the best feeling
Oh, the weightlessness.
ever. We paddle boarded, which was my
Stand up?
highlight of my trip.
Are you paddle boarders?
No,
This was new for you?
I hadn't paddle boarded. Neither of us had paddle boarded in years. And I was like, I wasn't thinking that I was gonna necessarily get up. I was thinking, all right, maybe I'll sit or kneel on the paddle board. But what happened is when we got the boards and the paddles, the guy kind of questioned
Your
if I could
ability?
do it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you know what? If I fall, I'm just falling
You're
in
in
this
water.
clear blue water with some turtles. I don't think I can. There's not like nothing bad can happen.
You made a
from
game day
this. Yeah.
decision. I'm
And
going
I
to be
did it.
okay.
I
How did
did
it feel? Was it hard to do?
Amazing. It was amazing. It was like the most empowering thing because I said right before I stood up, I was like, all right, you can totally do this. Just focus.
All right.
So I focused on a spot and I got up and I had the biggest smile on my face.
We have pictures of it.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to share the
Yeah.
pictures with you online.
Yeah.
You're giving me hope that I might be able to paddleboard
Totally
one day.
paddleboard.
I never tried it because I thought with the giant belly it's not going to be possible.
It's
but
possible.
you've proved me wrong. I just need to be as fit as you are with the giant belly. What was that the highlight of your trip?
Yeah. It was and just being with my husband. I mean, I think it we got married, we got pregnant so fast that I think a challenging part of being pregnant is not wanting to share him yet. Not feeling ready to share him and
You've had
the changes.
so much in a year.
It's been huge changes. So
I mean, you haven't even known each other that long.
No.
And to have all that transition, you guys are both really relaxed
yeah.
for all that's going on.
I think because we're both grateful that we both waited until we found the right person. So it seems we both believe that we'll figure it out. I do believe that, is even though we're both nervous about after the baby, we're nervous about delivery. We're nervous about how, bringing a newborn in will affect our relationship and everything. But I think we've gone through enough so far that
I feel like
figured it out.
In that sense, you're a marriage and family therapist.
Yeah.
So you know that the relationship goes through a period of change.
Yeah.
And your doula is a psychologist,
which
who's a
is super
therapist,
cool.
and her whole thing is the afterbirth plan on
And we did
preparing
that, which
for-
was super helpful.
pre-thinking what's going to happen then. So I feel like you put a lot more effort into it than other people, and you know what's coming, so it probably won't scare you the same way
Yeah.
or strain you the same
We're not
way.
expecting it to be a walk in the park.
Rosie,
Yeah.
smiles, we have a
No.
baby, we're amazing. Who needs sleep?
We're hoping for amazing moments, but we know that we'll be
I
exhausted.
know you'll
in the
have amazing
process.
moments, and you're going to come share them with us on the Real Midwives of Los Angeles. Welcome back to the Real Midwives of Los Angeles. We're here with Megan for part 6. And Megan, spontaneously the other day I called you, and you picked up the phone sounding a little frazzled, which is not so like you. And I said, "What's the matter?" And you said, "I just got out of my breastfeeding class,
Yeah.
and it was so much information and things I don't know. I hope I remember it all. It's overwhelming."
It was. It was so much information. I don't even know where to begin. I mean, it was, so we've taken classes. We took like a baby care 101 class, learning how to, change a diaper and swaddle and basics of feeding. We took a CPR class, an infant safety class. And then the breastfeeding class, it was like so much information, but it was, it felt like a formula of not
Formula,
literal
that's a funny way
formula,
to put
right?
it, yeah.
But it felt like, okay, now, every 3 hours, there was just a lot of numbers, right, to remember. And to me, I kind of walked out thinking, oh my gosh, this seems more, you know, overwhelming than just listening intuitively and like, all right, remembering the basic things of
I feel like these classes, to a large degree, you sort of walk in because this is a type of test you've never taken before,
yeah,
right? Like part 4 of the chiropractic boards is an exam where they have actors sitting in a room acting out certain diseases, and you can't study for a test like that without test preparation because you have
yeah,
no idea of the nature of the test. And I feel like childbirth education, because we sometimes do classes like that,
right,
is to sort of make you feel like you're not showing up to a test grossly underprepared. But at the same time, it's kind of like teaching someone to drive, right? When
right,
they leave, they're not going to be a good driver. They're going to not kill anybody, right? But they're
right,
going to learn on their own out in the field. So it's hard balance. And it's really hard, even as an individual, to give you enough information to make you feel confident,
right,
but not so much information that you overthink everything
right.
and that you constantly doubt yourself. That's hard with just one on one or one on two, but in a class, it's even harder because everybody has different
And
needs.
asking questions, right? Of like, different stuff that you hadn't thought about.
Haven't
And
thought.
also like you haven't met your baby yet, right? So they're giving you information which is, feed your baby every 3 hours, and that's assuming, again, back to kind of like the mathematical formula of
Or it almost reminds me of pushing. Do you know how you're going to push?
with help and coaching. I
Maybe.
want coaching.
Do you?
I think so. But then I think
Here's the crazy
yeah.
thing. My observation,
Yeah.
right? Going to a lot of birth. At the hospital, we almost always, there's a lot of coaching. At home, sometimes there isn't, sometimes there isn't. But they wait, those midwives wait and see if you ask for coaching or if you sort of need coaching.
Right.
A lot of times they just wait to see what you do.
You naturally, instinctively
And
do.
you naturally get into a position different for everybody. Some people on their back, some people on their side, some people squatting or on all
Right.
fours. You just end up in this position and you end up pushing in your own style. Sometimes it's the kind of coaching we would give you if you're
Right.
asking for coaching. Sometimes it's wildly different.
Right.
But as long as it's progressing, things look right, why would
Why
we tell you how
intervene?
we think you should
Yeah.
push?
Yeah.
And I think the first thing I said to you when you sounded frazzled about the breastfeeding class was like, the animals don't take a class, right?
Totally.
Right? The elephants figure it out. The dogs, the
Yeah.
cats, the lions, the tigers, everybody figures it out with no class. And I do think, I know it's hardwired in you, right?
It
You took a
is.
sperm, an egg, and a beer and made a
Right.
child out of it without thinking about it
Right.
at all.
Right.
And the same hard wiring is in you to sort of feed your child or
Yeah.
push your baby out. And I think it's great you've surrounded yourself with people who can help you and you've gotten some information. So again, it's not a test. You have no idea
Right.
how to go into it, but you're normally just figure this out with your baby.
Yeah. And that was really helpful to hear you say that. I mean, it was kind of like, oh wait, could we have like started the class by just saying like, you know, all mammal like no animals watch a, instructional video on how to breastfeed,
Right.
right?
They don't even have the app to tell them which boob. It's just they know it intuitively,
Right.
you know?
Right.
So I feel like you especially, because it's hard for you to get that balance. You crave the information
Yeah, I do.
and you want to do it perfectly and be the best mom you
Right.
can to this baby. But part of that means just surrendering,
Just letting go.
relaxing, trusting
Yeah.
your instincts. And if you need help, you have it around you.
Right.
You can go back to your notes or call a buddy or call a lactation specialist. It's all available to you.
Right.
Was there a highlight from that class that you felt like, oh, that's something I didn't know. That's nice to know?
I think that where we're delivering is very pro breastfeeding.
Baby friendly hospital.
Baby friendly hospital, which was really important for
I
me.
wonder what the opposite of that is.
right?
Oh.
Scary. But they're pro skin to skin. They're pro, they want you to succeed, and I don't even like saying that word succeed and
Well,
equating it to that. 'Cause
Your goal
it's-
is you want a healthy start to
Yeah.
breastfeeding, and they want
Yeah.
that for you too.
Yeah. And
So whereas hospital policy used to be, we take your baby away, we wash them, we test them, we do all
right.
sorts of things. Your hospital puts them on you. As long as everything looks good,
Right.
they put them on you so you guys could bond for a while before they do any of that.
Yeah.
Which is great.
And my take is like, when I'm in the right mind frame of like remembering just, let's see how it goes before there's help out there and there's support out there, but it might be fine,
I'm going to send you a picture of
you
a
know.
nursing rhino that I took at a safari. Just
Just as a
to
reminder
remind you, like, all right, I don't
before
have
I
to.
start. Okay, look at the rhino.
You're 37 weeks.
36 today.
Oh, yeah. You're
36 weeks.
36 weeks. Not, you're in the final stretch, no
Yeah.
pun intended. We may get you back before you have the baby, and we
Yep.
may not. But today, how are you feeling today in the last 1 month ago?
I'm more tired than I was a month ago, but I'm excited. I'm like each day, it's like is today going to be the day that I'm going to meet this little guy? I think I'm so grateful that I'm pregnant. Women are pregnant for, 10 months, not 9 months. There's 10 months to get prepared, because I definitely wasn't. My husband wasn't when we found out, and it's been a kind of a continuum of just kind of getting more ready, and then we get nervous and scared, and we just had our baby shower this past weekend, and so just feeling really loved and supported, being around our family and friends. I'm kind of, still on cloud nine a bit from,
From your shower.
yeah, and just getting excited of like, all right, it could be any time
Well, I
now.
love working with both of you guys, and I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
We will come back with Megan possibly before she has the baby and possibly afterwards. In order not to miss it, subscribe, and we will see you soon. Megan, you are in your 38th week of pregnancy. You're in the zone. And at this point, a lot of people just say, like, put a fork in me. I am done. How are you feeling?
I feel good, which I'm like hearing myself say it sounds a little surprising. I'm definitely feeling more kind of pelvic pressure and some pain here and there, but overall, I love being pregnant. I don't love all the moments of being pregnant, but as like
What
a
does that mean, all
whole,
the moments?
well, because there's some moments of just, you're changing body, all of these different kind of body sensations that I've never experienced before, being my first pregnancy, and just kind of getting used to this new, like, evolving, ever changing.
Are you saying like ache and pain sensations or like
Yeah.
can't see your feet sensations? Or
Both.
both?
Both.
Do you miss your toes?
Not really.
No?
I mean, it would be, what I miss is being able to put my shoes on easier.
But I think after you have the baby, you're going to miss somebody holding your book for you,
Totally.
right?
Totally.
Isn't that an added benefit?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but you don't feel like, oh, I got to get this baby out of me.
I'm like, I can't wait to meet him. I'm really excited to meet this little guy, and I also, it dawned on me like a few days ago, like, wait a minute, this is such a temporary kind of fleeting time, and time just seems to be speeding up, that I think imagining, wait a minute, in, 2.5 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, tomorrow, tonight,
Yeah.
like it
In
could
the next
be
6 minutes.
right.
Who knows?
Right. That would be a first, I
It
think.
would be a first for the real midwife.
Yeah.
And we happen to have a midwife in the studio tonight, so no
That's
problem.
good. That's
Yeah.
good. We're
And I
ready.
brought a towel.
Yeah.
So
Perfect.
we're good. Do you feel like, because I think that at the end when people get so uncomfortable, I'm
Yeah.
almost relieved a little bit, because then when the baby comes out, they're so happy the baby's out
Yeah.
and a little sad that the baby's not in.
Yeah.
Do you start to think about what that might feel like?
When the baby's out.
Yeah. Or
Totally.
not
I mean,
in.
yeah, not in. Yeah, I mean, I think, I've wondered if I'll miss, like, I'm appreciating how easy it is to go to the store, go, like,
Oh, and everything's on autopilot.
yeah.
I remember maybe 4 days after we had 3 days, even our first
Yeah.
kid. And there was all this crying and poop to clean up and stuff. And I was like, I cannot believe this was just all happening. Like the baby was fed
Yeah.
and nobody's nipples were sore.
Right.
The baby was like excreting and it was all
Right.
handled. And, there was no crying or anything like that. It was just amazing how that was all so smooth and handled. And now
Yeah.
it's just like total chaos.
Yeah. I'm nervous about that. Like hearing you talk about that, it's like, oh gosh, it's getting really real, of like just the spontaneity of my husband and I being able to watch a show without, feeding or crying or not even watching a show, right?
I haven't
Like
watched a
just
show in
quiet.
13 years.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. It's not true. I've watched two. Do you feel like the baby's moving more or less as you get closer?
More.
More movements? Bigger
More.
movements? Stronger?
Bigger and
like,
stronger movements.
So he takes after you.
Yeah.
A lot of physical activity going
Yeah.
on there.
Yeah.
Training. Are you still working out?
Still working out. Did yoga and walked today and
Is it prenatal yoga?
prenatal yoga.
Are
which I
you
love.
almost like the next one to go?
Yeah, which I was just talking to one of my friends who actually a friend who was there Monday just had her baby today.
Oh wow.
And so it just feels like I never thought that I would be like one of the oldest ones or one
Right.
of the one I
Most
was just
most
like
progressed.
little freshman in the prenatal yoga and now feel like I'm about to graduate.
It's a whole different experience.
Yeah.
Have you been doing mementos, like really pregnant mementos, so that you have this to remember down the road, like a maternity photo shoot or
Yeah.
belly casting?
We haven't done belly casting. We did a maternity photo shoot, which was pretty fun, and at our home, and like we've been in full on nest mode of like getting. That's a real thing.
Nesting?
Nesting.
Both of you?
Both of us.
Yeah.
My husband's like hunter gatherer mode, which he
Ooh.
kind of usually is anyway, but now that we have a baby on the way, it's like full on bow and arrow.
Do you think you're going to do belly casting? Have you thought about it?
I've thought about it.
Maybe we can get you belly casting.
That would be cool.
I think it's neat to look back. People like paint them and hang them on
Yeah.
the wall. There's one lady that makes a bowl out of it. She makes a glass bowl out of
That's
your
awesome.
belly. Yeah.
That would be cool.
And we get to see some of your maternity shots.
Mm-hmm.
Was it fun?
It was awesome. It was awesome. It was the same photographer actually that we have for our wedding, so we already knew him, and he's super easy, and he usually doesn't do maternity shoots, but he's a great guy, and
Did you get him back?
yeah.
You like
Yeah,
him? You're
yeah.
happy with it?
Yeah, we're happy with him.
I remember nesting, because you mentioned nesting. I feel like I did it more than my wife.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. I never had this. I don't really care about my house at all. And then before the baby came, I was just going to Home Depot, and I'm
Yeah.
not the Home Depot type. I'm like call for help type.
Yeah.
And I'm in Home Depot pushing around a thing, wandering in. Almost feels like the desert. You can't even pick up the stuff in there and put it in the cart.
But you feel like you need to have it.
I
to get
was
ready
like,
for
yeah, we should get some plywood. I don't know why.
just in
We can do
case.
it. Yeah, just in case.
in
And in
case.
fact, when labor started, she started having contractions like 7 or 8 minutes apart. I had this concept that I was going to put up shelves before the baby came, and it was 2 weeks before the due date. I'm like, oh my God, I got to go to Home Depot. And
That's
so I was getting my keys. I was an idiot. I was getting my keys and everything. I was like, we can't have the baby before the shelves go up.
Right.
Where are we going to put the baby? I don't know. Shelving. Anyways, what kind of nesting things are you guys doing?
Putting up shelves.
Oh, you are?
actually.
Okay, good. And
We're
it's,
putting up shelves, doing the nursery. We redid our patio and put turf down, so we would have like a little,
little play
grass
area.
area for the little guy, and hanging art that we've had in our place for
But
a
not
while,
up.
but not up.
is your nursery ready? Like, have
Nursery's ready.
It's all set.
Clothes are
Is
washed.
that eerie?
every-
Like just an empty nursery?
It's actually kind of comforting.
You like it?
I like it.
Because it's ready.
It's ready. It's just like, okay, whenever he comes, it's.
We didn't buy anything before he came.
You didn't.
Nothing. Not even a car seat. Nothing. It's part of, like, traditionally we don't
Yeah.
buy stuff before the kid comes. But it's
Right.
chaos. I mean,
Oh, it's
we're just,
crazy.
as soon as the baby was out, I was like, oh, I got to go get the car seat. Bye, honey. And shelves. All right. Well, you viewing at home, how did you feel at 38 weeks? And what were you doing? Did you have any interesting nesting habits? Go ahead and write in our comments below. And don't forget to subscribe because Megan's getting really close and you don't want to miss this. We are back with Megan. She's in her 38th week, which is early term. The baby could come tonight or in the next month. It's that iffy time. And you mentioned to me recently that you're trying to visualize some of the elements of what the birth might be like.
Yeah.
And then you asked about pushing. What might pushing feel like? And although I've been to a lot of births and seen a lot of pushing, I really couldn't tell you what pushing feels like. So we brought in an expert. And the expert we have is midwife Mariposa Oxenberg from Birthwell. Welcome to the Real Midwives.
Thank you, Dr. Berlin.
Yeah, you're welcome. I had the joy of attending a birth with you very recently. It was awesome, and it was filmed from like 6 different camera angles or something like that for a documentary. And I was really focused on her most of the time, but for periods of time, I was wondering how my balding spot looked from camera number 3. Just a little challenging. Let's go. You are CNM, a certified nurse midwife.
I am.
So tell me, because there's different kinds of midwives. Tell me about CNM. What's the training like, and how long have you been doing it?
Well, the training for a CNM is to have a nursing background, a degree as a registered nurse license, and then a master's in science and nurse midwifery. And then they're also professional midwives, certified professional midwives, and licensed midwives. And I always say that you don't have to be a nurse to be a good midwife. But I chose to do that training, that background, because it was the best for me.
And how long have you been practicing?
So I've been helping women have babies for about 20 years now.
That's
it. Yeah.
You're getting the hang of it?
But as a nurse midwife for about 7.
Okay.
My own home birth practice, yeah.
So you've been around a lot of pushing.
A lot of pushing, yes. Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to pushing, I see in different settings, and even sometimes in the same setting, such a wide gamut of what happens when labor gets to that point, the point of pushing. People seem to get excited, right?
They do.
And
I'm like,
Start screaming.
they do. People get really excited.
Really?
You know what? Normally, people have never had a baby come to the office, and that's the part they're worried about.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, no, what about the pushing? I got to have an epidural for the pushing. But women who've done unmedicated childbirth usually tell me that pushing is kind of exhilarating. And you do see the energy come up. Sometimes if there's a playlist, it's the fast playlist that comes on. It's the excited, happy playlist that comes on for pushing. And sometimes it seems to take 20 minutes. Sometimes it seems to take 5 or 6 hours. But what I was going to say is that I see just a wide gamut on coaching that midwives and doctors give and nurses, labor and delivery nurses give when it comes to pushing. Sometimes, and the most memorable births I have, like touched me in a really memorably beautiful way, is where there's no coaching at all. She just kind of gets up to pushing. There's not even like a big fanfare. Okay, we're ready to push. She just sort of feels the urge and gets into whatever position seems right to her. She's not talking about it or thinking about it. And then when she feels like pushing, she does. And when she doesn't, she doesn't. And it's usually at home with a midwife, and the midwife's just hanging out. And I'm like, what are you, like meditating, or aren't you going to coach at all? And it just never happens. She just finds her groove and does it herself. To the other extreme, where sometimes it's a very calculated, okay, now take a deep breath and clear it out, breathe all the way in, push, 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 push. And we're counting. Everybody's counting, and everybody's holding a leg, this leg and that leg. And it's just this very mechanical, calculated thing. So,
Or they tell you to wait till the doctor comes to push.
that's a totally separate thing, which is like sometimes the labor and delivery nurse's job is to make sure the doctor gets there before the baby's out, but not much before the baby's out. So if you're ready to push and feel the urge, they sometimes have you not push, which I don't think is a great idea usually. But the question is, assuming everybody's there who's supposed to be there, you're kind of wondering, you were even asking like mechanically, just how do I do it? What is the answer to that? How do you address that?
I address it as if you are, that's why we do sit back at birth and just let the mother's body do what it needs to do. Because if we are counting and yelling and pushing, we're engaging the neocortex, and if we can keep the mama out of her neocortex into her primal brain, then she doesn't have to think to do anything. Her body just does it exactly how it's meant to happen, and she gets in the proper position, whether it's on hands and knees or whatever her body feels is the best position to push her baby out. Then you can then you don't have to think about it. Then you can just allow your body to open, and you can allow the fetal ejection reflex to happen, which is like a sneeze. It's like you can't help it. You can't stop it if it's coming, but you can't force it if it's not. So I was just, we hear a difference in the sound that a woman makes when she's starting to push. And normally that's when I get them in the tub if they want a water birth, because it's the best time to get them in the tub. That's why I call them aquadurals.
Aquadural.
So you get them in the tub then, and then
Aquadural sounds like a superhero.
Yeah, aquadural.
Man.
It is like a superhero, because you go in. The mother can get into the proper position that feels good for her, and then you just allow your body to do what's naturally coming within you. So you've told me that you're going for a natural birth, which is great, because then you'll be able to feel what those urges are, and then you have an amazing doula that's coming in to help you.
I like her. I'm a big fan.
Dr.
My wife.
And so if she, keep everything quiet, keep everything really just the lights down and slow, and just let your body do what it needs to do. Then you don't have to push. The baby will just come down. That's what the contractions are. It's your uterus pushing the baby out on its own. That's what the muscle does.
When to push, like you said, when the baby comes down, it's like, I think it's and here I am thinking about it, right? But like trying to know something that I've never experienced before.
Yeah, and people are can be pretty scared because they feel like they're gonna tear. Some people have told me I feel like I'm, a baby's coming out of my butt. A lot of people say that. You know what? If somebody would have just told me, it felt like they were coming out of my butt. But my midwife told me, she's like, just get in the tub and make a big caca. It's like the biggest caca you've ever made in your entire life.
Oh, where are you from?
That was my Cuban midwife.
Oh,
right
wow.
now, Zugra, with my first. Because I was like, what do I do? So you really just, the only instruction that I really do give a mama is at the very end, and this is from the great Ina May Gaskin, and when you feel the baby crowning, you feel that stretching of your tissue, the burning, or the ring of fire, as they call it, which is, a terrible name.
Totally.
But it's, and it's intense stretching, then you blow through your lips.
That's right. Okay.
Just blow through your lips, because
Horse lips.
yeah, you cannot tense up your bottom. If you tense up your bottom, then everything tenses up. If you blow through your lips, you can relax your bottom, you can relax your perineum, and then the baby with the ejection reflex just comes out, and you don't tear. So,
Okay, this is too good. We need to get more. Because inquiring more. First of all, you talked about the fetal ejection reflex. You talked about the neocortex. We have to explain some things, and I think there's still more. I think Megan still has more questions. So we're going to come back, and we're going to do another episode on pushing. And I want you to know, by the way, I'm going to probably be uncomfortable during your birth, because my wife will be with you, which means I got to run the household, which is way out of my comfort zone. Yeah, so if you can make it snappy, that would be wonderful. Comments below. What was pushing like for you? What can you share with our other viewers and with Megan? And come back and see what happens for pushing part 2. Welcome back to the Real Midwives of Los Angeles. We're here with Megan and Mari Oxenberg from Birthwell, certified nurse midwife, although everybody knows you don't have to be a nurse to be a great midwife. In between the break, we were all practicing our horse lips. And I'll tell you what, I feel a lot better when I do it. So thank you. We were talking about pushing, and a few things came up. One was the fetal ejection reflex that Mari mentioned, which is that a Michel Odent term? Did he coin that term?
I believe so.
Because there's a bunch of reflexes. There's a sperm ejection reflex, and there's the female introjection reflex during, of course, that brings the sperm out and then back into the woman's body. Then there's the milk ejection reflex. The placenta, does that have its own ejection reflex?
Probably.
There's a lot of ejection reflexes going on.
Yes.
So, but I feel like I remember him describing it as once the fetal ejection reflex takes place, the baby just comes down. Your body literally ejects the baby. And then you talked about the neocortex, which is the part of our brain that other animals don't have. It gives us the ability to do things that they can't do. And one of them is to get in our own way because we can overthink things. So I think you were talking about your tip for staying out of the neocortex might be to not even coach at all.
No coaching, exactly. It just is quiet. And as, if anything, I'm just whispering to a mama, like, good job, you got this, you're almost there. And that's pretty much it, except for then when she starts to crown, I'll say, all right, blow through your lips, just let the baby's head sit on your perineum and stretch the tissue. Don't I always,
Don't
blast
fight it.
the baby out, just hold the baby back just a little bit to let your tissues stretch and open. And then with the next contraction, then just allow the baby to come out with that ejection reflex. That's that last urge that your body does to expel the baby from your body.
Do you have other tips for not tearing at that
I
point?
do,
Yeah.
I do. And this came from an amazing doctor, Dr. Green, up in, he's obstetrician. He's since retired in Santa Barbara Cottage Hospital. And he told this to a dear friend of mine who was a very tiny, petite woman, and she had a 10-pound baby at her first birth and didn't tear.
Wow.
And I was like, what? How is that possible?
Yeah.
And she said because Dr. Green told her to put, starting at 37 weeks, to insert a borage oil capsule into her vagina at night, every night until the baby's born, starting at 37 weeks. And
What does that do?
It melts in your body and it distributes the prostaglandins of the borage oil, which I think just makes everything soft and supple and starts ripening your cervix and makes your tissues really soft and able to open and
Stretchy.
stretch. Yeah, it makes it stretchy. So we have been doing
Amazon
that
Prime
with
that.
with my
Amazon
clients.
Prime.
It's time for that. I've been doing that with my clients
Borage
for
oil.
many years. I rarely ever have to suture, and if I do, it's just minor.
Really? Sometimes I see at a birth, either the midwife or doctor will be doing this massage with
Yeah,
oil.
I'm really glad you brought that up because it's not evidence-based, and it
Okay.
actually has been shown to cause tearing. So even though they're very well-meaning and they want to do something to help you, everybody wants to help the mama, in the hospital, but the oil and the massage with the oil as the baby's coming out, that actually increases the tearing.
No kidding.
So hands off the perineum will protect the
During
perineum.
the birth. What
During the
about leading up to where the partners are doing perineal massage?
Now that shows to actually help to do it ahead of time, so to prepare your body for that intensity of the stretching. And the
Right.
perineal massage is a really big misnomer because there's nothing massage about that. But it's when you
Oh.
take like coconut oil or olive oil or some kind of edible oil that you massage, the partner usually will massage the perineum
Right.
and stretch it, really pressing down on the perineum if this is your vagina, pressing down. And then releasing, and the mother breathes through it and breathes through the sensation of stretching. And I found it absolutely horrible with my
I've heard it,
first, and
yeah.
I was like, this is terrible. And so a friend of mine who was a midwife, she was like, Mari, just have hard sex. It's like the same thing.
Oh,
That's what I tell my clients.
well, it's your
There you
choice.
go.
Whatever. Actually, I got to tell
Either
you,
or.
some of the patients when they get to the end of the pregnancy, I feel like would prefer that
Yeah.
perineal massage than the hard sex.
Yeah.
Well, we always say what gets the baby in gets the baby out. So.
Right.
That's great. Makes
Ooh.
sense.
Unless you
Makes
have
sense.
IVF.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's a hard way to get the baby out. Do you have questions?
I think just this whole how do I get out of my own way when
Good
it's
question.
time to push or let my body do what it needs to do? Because I feel like I've read so much and I'm really curious and actually wanting to maybe become a doula myself. And so I'm really interested in all of this. And yet I know that when I'm up here and not in my body, it's going to slow things down.
Well, what I did personally in when I was having my babies, and those thoughts do come in, like the fear thoughts come in, and
Yeah.
this is going to take forever. I can't do this. All those thoughts that come in here, I just blow them away with my breath, and I just think to myself, surrender, 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 surrender.
Yeah.
and just focus on that surrender. And that's when I hear a mother's voice go up when I instruct, I always the breathing that we do in my births is just long, deep sounds with
And
every
lower,
contraction, low,
right?
deep
Yeah.
sounds, a deep breath. And because it's impossible to tense up the body when you're making that low, deep sound with the contractions or the surges. So that's what I instruct moms to do. And then I always know when they're afraid or something is popping in their head because their sound goes up, their voice goes up, higher pitch, they're tightening and they're scared.
Oh.
Yeah. And so I just say, blow away the fear. You don't need it, and you're blowing and it's so cute. So we just, it's just
I'll
a
remember
process.
that it's cute.
It's cute.
It's cute. Blow away the fear.
Just
You're
reframing
almost
it.
done.
It's a little spin.
Yeah.
So
You're
cute.
almost there.
This is really cute.
It's not going to happen.
Can't believe how
forever.
cute this is.
Yeah, and then and that's what really helped me is just surrender, and you remember that in yourself, just to let go of any thoughts that are stopping you or and getting in your way, and just allow your body to do what it needs to do because your body knows exactly what to do.
I also think because you know that you get in your head,
Yeah.
you'll
I'm aware of
recognize it and
Yeah,
be aware of
totally.
it. And I think you'll have an easier time getting out of your head. Sometimes tricks that I use at birth are music, like especially music with a lot of words that are meaningful to you and you know the words. So just put in earbuds and close your eyes and just you end up mouthing the words along
It's
to the
funny
music.
because we packed our hospital bag this past weekend, but I forgot earphones and I
I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah, but I
won't
just
be
did
cute.
it right before I came
Oh,
here.
okay.
Yeah.
Luckily. So the music, and then even at that birth that Mari and I just did recently, she liked the drum music, just really, the rhythm. I mean, there were hours of just drumming going on, and it just really seemed to help her calm down a lot. The only thing I love about home birth versus hospital birth, sorry about this, but
No, that's fine.
is the food. Home birth has the best food, and hospital birth has Jell-O. I'm just saying. If you're thinking
gonna
about home
sneak
versus
food in.
hospital,
Do.
you are.
Yeah.
You're gonna
we
stay
have-
home anyway for a
I'm
long
gonna stay
time.
home as long
so-
as I can. But we got our bag stashed
stuff.
with
Oh.
yeah.
Well,
But not as
I'll
good
have
as,
dinner
like,
waiting for
homemade.
Alyssa when she comes home. But if she's stuffed from your hospital bag, then I'll understand.
I don't know if it'll be that good.
I have one last question. I get this question all the time. How long can someone expect pushing to take on a first birth?
Ooh, good question. I've seen anywhere from 3 hours to 20 minutes. It just depends on, I think, really being able to get into a position that works for your body. So it's kind of tricky in a hospital, but they can move the bed around and the bed up and the feet down. And so I've even seen moms pushing in the hospital on hands and knees.
That's what
I think your
that-
doctor's okay with
I think
that.
that's
That's
what
cool.
I want to do.
I did a birth with her not too long ago,
Really?
and I think she was definitely okay with some alternative positions, not just flat on your back with
Great.
your legs in the
Because
air.
That's
because
great.
even just I've been doing hands and knees in yoga and just to relieve like some lower back pain, and that's like one of my favorite
Yeah.
positions now. So
It's a great way. It
Okay.
also helps protect the perineum too.
good.
Because the head isn't coming through the perineum, but up, on top of the perineum if you're leaning forward. So that's really wonderful.
Wow. Thank you, Mari, for joining us and sharing those tips from years of attending birth. And Megan, you feel better?
Yeah,
A little
no,
more
I feel
prepared?
better. I'm gonna Amazon Prime the
Barrage oil.
Yeah,
I think we all
barrage
are.
oil, for
Yeah.
sure.
Who doesn't want that? If you have any tips for how to avoid tearing, or if you want to share your comments or stories with us and our viewers, join the conversation and leave your comments below. Don't forget to like our episode so other people can find it and share us with your friends and followers. Well, we're almost at the big day. Join us on the next episode when Megan comes back and shares her birth experience with us. You can see all the episodes of The Real Midwives online at therealmidwives.com or on YouTube at youtube.com/therealmidwives.